welcome to Tuesday Talks with Twyla. I just wanted to start off with a little personal attribute. I'm curious how many of you are freezing this mild Tuesday. We are experiencing extremely cold temperatures, so I am bundled up inside the house in front of the fireplace. I live in South Dakota, and I don't know if any of you have been or know anything about South Dakota, but we can get extremely frigid temperatures, and we are experiencing that right now. And by this time of the year for me in February, I am ready to start thinking spring, and I am ready for 60-degree weather. We are a long ways from that today, for sure. So I'm struggling with these very cold temps and not wanting to leave the house and the fireplace. So I'm bringing you this frigid Tuesday Talks with Twyla from South Dakota. So today I want to talk about failing ahead of time. This is a concept I learned from my coach, and it dawned on me after last week's Tuesday Talks with Twyla, where we talked about the story that we're telling ourselves, or the sentences, or the sentence that kind of is on replay in the back of our head. And I've been, I shared my experience, what I'm struggling with the overwhelm and the feeling that I have that I don't have enough time to do the things that I want to do. And this dawned on me that maybe hopefully you guys did the work and actually tried to figure out what the sentences are in the story that you're telling yourself. And you did a little bit of that reflection work and figured out if your story is positive or negative and if you need to change it, if you've been working on that. So I've been working on this, and I've been working on it diligently, but our human brain is designed to revert back. And so it has a few times reverted back to that same story that was on repeat, the negative story that doesn't serve me, that has me feeling the overwhelm and the I don't have time for anything feeling. And it occurred to me that even though I know I'm going to fall down, I need to get back up, I need to redirect my mind, this is going to happen, this is what happens, and nothing's wrong with me, nothing's gone wrong. But the failing ahead of time is the concept where we just give up, right? So if I keep at this and I work on changing the story, I work on redirecting my mind every time it goes back, and I redirect it to where I want it to be thinking, the sentence I want to say to myself every day. I have plenty of time to do everything I want to do. And when I say that to myself, I feel empowered and I feel motivated to be more strategic, plan my day, ask myself, what do I want to do, and make sure I schedule it in my day. And then the outcome, the result is I have plenty of time during the day to do the things I want to do. And that's my goal with that one. So what happens is the failing ahead of time concept basically is when we fall down, we don't get back up again, and we just give up. And we tell ourselves, this isn't working. This isn't going to work. This isn't working. And if you imagine how long you've been telling yourself the same negative story, and how often you tell yourself that, or how often it just plays on repeat, it plays behind the scenes, it's just that noise in the back of our head, how often, how frequently, how that's just like almost always there. And you imagine that and you're combating that, right? So let's say it's 100 times a day that my brain goes to that thought, I never have enough time for what I want to do. And let's say I catch it half the time. So only 50% of the time, 50 times a day, do I redirect it to I have plenty of time. And the other half of the time, it's telling me that I don't have enough time. So you can see that even 50%, like I'm not going to catch every single time it says that, right? Because I'm just so used to hearing it. It's like white noise in the background. I'm just used to it. It's been there. That voice has been there. That sentence has been there. That story has been there. It's comfortable. My brain likes it. It likes repeat. It likes common. It likes efficient. It knows that thought. It knows that story. It's going to keep ponying it up to me. And I have to be very diligent about redirecting it. It takes a lot of effort my brain doesn't want to do. Honestly, effort that none of us want to do, right? We don't want to have to work at it. We want it to be easy. We want to have an easy button. We want to say, okay, we're going to think this now, and then it's done. Because we want it to be as efficient as the sentence and story that's playing on repeat right now. And we can get there, but it takes work. And eventually we will get there. But if we give up, we are failing ahead of time. We are failing before we even give ourselves the opportunity to show some success. So let's say it starts off where it's only the first day I decide to redirect my thoughts and I change them and I catch them only 10% of the time. And the next day, let's say it's 15%. And then let's say I get up to 25%. And then the next day, maybe I'm back down to 10. And any time that we have any kind of regression, that's when our brain, our old caveman brain who loves the efficient repeat thought that's already ingrained is going to be like, see, told you, let's just go back to this. It's so much easier. And then you can just go sit down and have a cookie. Doesn't that sound better? Of course it sounds better. But in the long run, at the end of the journey, if you imagine standing there and you hadn't given up on the third day, like how many days do you think it should take? When I ask myself this, because I've had to do this, right? Like I've actually considered just giving up on this because it is very challenging. I'm not going to be one that sugarcoats it and tells you this is easy work. You can do this. You can absolutely do this. It is challenging work. We are reprogramming our brain. So it takes diligence. It takes intention. It takes effort and energy that our brain does not want us to spend. It just doesn't. And we understand that, right? We can all understand that our caveman brain is designed the way it's designed, and it's just, nothing's gone wrong. There's nothing wrong with us. It's just the way it's built. So we have to work with what we've got. And understanding that certainly is comforting, but it's also frustrating. But the alternative is to just stay stuck in our same story. So for me, that story creates a constant feeling of overwhelm. It creates stress. It increases my blood sugar. It makes me unproductive. It destroys my entire day. And when I start off my day that way, especially, I get out of bed and I'm just feeling like I don't have time for anything today, right? I just woke up. I have the whole entire day in front of me. And my first thought is, I don't have time for anything? Like when you actually dial it in like that, you're like, come on, seriously, brain. That isn't even true. It's not even close to true. It is the biggest fallacy ever. But I believe it and I feel it, right? I hear the sentence, the story goes through my mind, and I feel it in my body. And that reinforces it. And if I don't catch that and redirect it, especially first thing in the morning, it just sets me up for longer time sitting on the couch, another cup of coffee. Should I make another pot of coffee, right? Like, ooh, the fire is so nice and warm and this is so cozy and I can just do my work from here, which is all true, right? Like, so none of this stuff is like a bunch of crap. It's actually true. And it's also unproductive. So yeah, I can sit on the couch and I can open my MacBook and I can work from there. The amount of productivity that comes out of me when I'm sitting on the couch under my fuzzy blanket with my cup of coffee and the fireplace isn't what it is when I go to my office and I sit at my desk and I sit attentively and all I have to do is be productive on my work, on my business. It's drastically different. It's also drastically different in the comfort level, which again, is another part of the draw to keep me sitting on the couch. And I'm telling myself this story, and it all seems true. It mostly is true. But also what is true is that by giving into that, I'm giving up and I'm failing ahead of time. I'm not staying intentional to the redirection to the new story that I have chosen for myself. I want that life instead. I really do. And when I imagine standing at the end of that journey and having conquered this, When I compare standing there at the end of that journey to the path I'm on with this same old story that I want to change, I don't want that. And that's a great way to visualize this. If you're thinking about giving up, or it's too hard, or it's feeling challenging, just picture that future. And one path leads you to the new version, the new story, the new you. And the other one is you're on the same path. You're thinking the same thought. And I know where I am. That's where I am right now, right? I have overwhelm every day. I don't get nearly as much done as I want to. I feel stressed and overwhelmed. I'm not enjoying life. I'm not happy. I'm just existing. I'm just surviving. That's not where I want to be at the end of that journey. So I have to make that decision, and I have to make it all the time. I have to do it intentionally. I have to do it purposefully. And I have to keep that. I have to keep my eye on the ball. I have to keep my eye on the prize, because the end of that journey is the prize. And failing ahead of time simply means I give up. It's too hard. It's too challenging. And as I even say those words, because I know that that's what my caveman brain wants me to choose, it's so ridiculous, right? It's not better. It's not easier. It's not easier to feel overwhelm and stress every single day. That is not an easier way to live. It's a more comfortable, more efficient way for my brain to be. That's it. But that's not my choice. And if I don't make the conscious choice, my caveman brain makes it for me. Every day, first thing in the morning, the choice is made. So I have to notice it, which is always the first thing, right? Because it's comfortable. So it's not like you stubbed your toe first thing in the morning and it brought your attention to it. No, it's comfortable. It's common. It's what it is every day. So if you don't be intentional about it, you're not redirecting it first thing in the morning. So you have to pick. So the best thing to do is create a habit stack. And this is kind of my favorite way to introduce something new into your life. Like, you always brush your teeth every morning. So while you're doing that, maybe you open the notes on your phone and you kind of read through the new thought or story that you want to have for yourself. Or what I like to do, because I don't like to have to read while I'm doing something else, I just jump into my little voice recorder and I record the message. So then I can just pull that up and hit play. And I'm talking to myself, telling myself, today we're going to think this. And I do that while I brush my teeth, right? So I'm going to brush my teeth every morning, and then I just get in the habit of playing that while I do it, and I've redirected that thought to the new story. How amazing. And I set my foot on that path first thing in the morning. Now, does this happen every single time? Nope. And if it happens first thing in the morning by, mid-morning, am I still on that same path? Sometimes, but sometimes not. And so when we're giving up, we're failing ahead of time, and we're just giving in to the efficiency and the commonness and the comfortableness of our old caveman brain. And that's not what we really want. It's not that we can't do this, because we absolutely can. This work is not difficult. It's challenging in that it's constant until we get there. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and there is an end to this path. It doesn't go on forever. It doesn't take forever, right? There was a time before that I never had this thought. And I used to just dream of those days. Like, what was different? How did I live without that? Where did this come from? And why am I stuck with it? And I would focus on that. I would focus on those days and just dream of how that thought and that story didn't even exist in my life at that time. And I dreamed about being back there. That's what's ahead for me. That's what I'm looking at right now. That's going to be the new version of me at the end of this journey. And I'm going to do the work, and I'm going to keep doing the work, and I'm going to fall down, but I'm going to get back up again. And I know I'm going to fall down, and I know I'm going to want to feel like this isn't working, this is never going to work, because my brain will offer that, your brain will offer that. It's what our brains do. So just know that. And when it happens, be like, yep, Twyla said that was going to happen. This is what our brains do. Okay, caveman brain, that's great. Now, thank you for that, but I'm going to think this instead because we have that choice. But it doesn't happen unless we're intentional about it. And so there will be times where it'll pony up those thoughts in the story and we just listen to it. We get comfortable and we just kind of fall back into that rut. And it's okay if it's an entire day or 2 days, and then we go, oh, crap, I'm in that rut again. But if we stay there and we give up, that's when we fail ahead of time. So we're going to redirect, we're going to start again, and we're going to refocus. That new me at the end of that path, this new journey where I have every day without this thought, without the overwhelm, without this yucky feeling, that's what I'm on this path for. That's what I'm gunning for. And that's what I'm going to get. That's what I'm going to give to myself. And the more diligent I am, the more intentional I am. If I catch it every single time, it's probably less days between today and that day. And I don't know how many days there are. I can tell you it's more days than I want it to be, of course, right? We just want it right now. We just want the results right now. But we have to tell ourselves and remember that the results are there for us. We can have them 100%. There's nobody that's exempt from this. We can all have this in our life. We just have to do the work. And it's not like how easy it was to slip into the negative pattern, which just happened without us even realizing it. This takes effort. This takes intention and purpose, and it takes diligence, and we just have to stick to it. And it's worth it. I know it's worth it because I used to live like that. I used to live where every day was carefree, and I didn't feel like I had this monkey on my back. I didn't feel like I had this constant sense of overwhelm. I felt good. And of course, there were ups and downs. There's good days and bad days, but overall, I didn't have this monkey on my back. I remember days without this monkey, and that is what I'm looking forward to. That's what I visualize in me in the future. That's my future self right there. There's no monkey. There's no overwhelm. There's carefree. There's doing the things I want to do, feeling like I have time to do them, feeling good about it, being excited about it. There's times where I want to do stuff if I don't catch myself. There's something that I really love to do. And the thought of doing it creates stress and overwhelm. And then I have to ask myself, why don't I want to do that? I actually enjoy doing it because I'm telling myself this story that I don't have time. And then, it doesn't even make sense, right? Like you don't have time to do that because you're just sitting on the couch with another cup of coffee. Why don't you have time? You actually have all day. Go take a bike ride. Go color a page in your coloring book. Go read a chapter in your book. Go jump on the treadmill for 20 minutes and take a leisurely walk while you listen to your favorite songs. Whatever it is, right? And so when you actually dissect the story, it's comical, right? It's insanely comical that this is the story our brain tells us and we believe it. Like as I'm telling you this and I realize these are the things, like it is just absolutely absurd. But I buy into it. And I have to be diligent about thinking something different. I have to try really hard to be like, you either sit on the couch or you walk on the treadmill. It's not like you're missing like something very important. If you do this, you don't get to do that, right? Like that's the story my brain is telling me. Like you don't have time for that. Like there's going to be this huge sacrifice. Like you're going to miss your daughter's dance recital if you walk on the treadmill for 20 minutes. Whatever it is for you. I don't have a daughter. I've never been to a recital. I have all boys. But whatever it is for you, like you're going to miss the big event if you walk on the treadmill for 20 minutes. Really? I don't have a big event today. I'm simply sitting on the couch with another cup of coffee. That's the reality. And yet my brain makes it so dramatic. And I believe it. If I don't catch myself, and I don't actually redirect it, I believe that crazy story because I feel it, right? I feel it in my body. I feel overwhelmed when I imagine getting on the treadmill instead of sitting on the couch. That's what consumes my body, is that feeling. But when I imagine standing at the end of that path and I imagine all the glory and excitement of not having that monkey on my back, now that feels amazing. And I have to redirect myself to that. And it's constant, it's intentional, it's deliberate. And when I step into that and I imagine what it feels like, that is the emotion I need to tap into. And then stand up, get off the couch, and go do whatever it is I want to do. Whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is that is your new story to tell yourself, do not fail ahead of time. Do not give up. Do not give in to the easy button of your caveman brain that wants to revert back to the same story. Don't do that to yourself. And I know how hard it is. I'm feeling this hard right now. It is difficult, but we can do this. And do it alongside me. I'm taking you along for this journey. I plan to keep checking in. I can't wait to tell you when I'm at the end of this path and I'm feeling that glory every day. I know it's coming. I know I'm going to get there. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to fail ahead of time. I've had those thoughts. I have those thoughts. I still have them. I've had them the last few days, several days, and I'll have them again. But I'm going to take the reins and I'm going to redirect and I'm going to stay on top of this and I'm going to get there. I'm going to cross the finish line. And I hope you're coming with me for the journey, and I hope that you're on your own journey. And if there's anything about this that you're struggling with, or you have questions, or you just want to tell me, I did it, I made it a whole day, or this is just kicking my butt. What can you offer me that will help? Please reach out. I would love to discuss it with you, have a conversation, just be there for you, because this is tough. It's tough work. But we've got this. We're strong and we are intentional about it. We are going to be diligent about it, and we're not going to fail ahead of time. We're not giving up here. We're going to keep going. So if your brain is offering that, just tell it, no, we're not doing that. We're going to do this. So this is the path we're on. This is what we're going to do. This is my new story. This is the new life I'm building, and I'm not giving up. I'm not failing ahead of time. Failure is not in my vocabulary. So let's do this together. I hope that you're on a wonderful path. I hope you're somewhere warm. Honestly, it is so cold here. I don't even want to leave the house, and I have to today, and I'm so bummed about it. So with that, I will let you go. I will see you next Tuesday. Please let me know how it's going. I'd love to hear your stories. I'd love to help you. If you need any just tidbits, just need to talk about it, whatever it is, just reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Until then, I'll see you next Tuesday. Stay warm.